Right. It's time for our closer look. I hope you want to talk about AI because that's what we're going to be talking about. Apple's AI chief, John Giannandrea, is going to be retiring after some delays and criticism around Apple Intelligence, including the much rumored and often postponed Siri overhaul. Amar Subramanya, and I'm sorry if I butchered that, who was a former AI person at Google who was responsible for doing a lot of the Gemini stuff, been there for 16 years, and most recently left to go to Microsoft in June, will now be going to Apple. He's going to take over as the person who's going to be in charge of Apple Intelligence. He's going to report directly to Air Force One himself, Craig Federighi, and Apple's going to be reorganizing its AI teams a little bit. Giannandrea will stay on as an advisor up until spring of next year, and then he's probably going to go take his money and buy a yacht and sail around the Mediterranean or something. I don't know. But the shakeup shows that Apple really is still trying to catch up in AI, which is mirroring some other leadership churn that we've seen in other tech companies as they kind of try to adjust to what's going on. I know we talk a lot about enterprise AI adoption, but this is an interesting problem because this is pretty much consumer-focused AI. And a lot of people, if you read the forums out there, are, criticizing Apple for being behind on AI. And some other people are saying, well, I don't understand what the big deal is. And of course, there's talks about bubbles and stuff like that. Al, I'm going to let you jump in here to start. Do you think that Apple is behind? And do you think that bringing in the wizard behind Google Gemini is going to be the way to fix it?
Well, Apple is definitely failing to deliver Apple Intelligence and AI the way we would expect. For me, one of the most telling things is we have a couple of delegates who will use ChatGPT on their iPhones to ask questions and get background information as we're doing our events, our Tech Field Day events. Even if they're on their iPhone, they're not asking the question of Siri, they're asking it of ChatGPT. That's pretty telling. That's saying that Siri is not keeping up with ChatGPT in terms of delivering AI, and that's fundamentally what's going on here. We'll recall that Johnny Ive left Apple and went to found an AI startup. This again follows the same idea that Apple just isn't quite getting or delivering AI as visionary people are expecting it. Whether Subramanya can come in and shake things up enough, whether he will have enough power and that he can shift the thinking in Apple to actually deliver what's needed, what's wanted here, remains to be seen. It's always a challenge coming in from outside the organization to try and make large changes, especially for an organization that has attempted to do a particular thing, AI in this case, and specifically generative AI, for a long time and has not really delivered that generative AI. It's very hard to come in then and get that transition, that sweeping transition. It's also interesting that the reporting line changes. So Giannandrea reported directly to Tim Cooke, whereas Subramanya is going to be reporting indirectly. And that doesn't, to me, smell of we're going to really enable you to do big things and make big changes. Uh, let's hope I'm wrong. Let's hope that Siri actually becomes the new interface that we're going to use to gain some insights about what's going on around us. Tom, I know, like me, you're an iPhone user and have had Siri at your fingertips. Has Siri done great things for you? Do you use ChatGPT on your iPhone?
I actually don't. I've used some AI LLMs before, but I'm going to take a little bit of a contrarian view here because, well, it's my show and I can. What exactly did Apple fail to deliver on? Audience out there, I want you to leave a comment on this video. What did Apple fail to deliver on with AI? What exactly is the killer use case that you are looking for in an on-device AI? Is it to look up the batting average for the 1953 Dodgers at a moment's notice because you need to do that to win a bar trivia contest? Is it every tech bro's dream of having a system that will automatically make dinner reservations for you? That's actually a TikTok that I watched the other day. Every piece of AI that I have seen so far that is consumer focused is trying to get your phone to act like an automated executive assistant. I wrote a blog post about this recently where I said AI is designed by people who want people to do things for them. When you look at the executives, when you look at the senior vice presidents, when you look at the people who are showing all this off, what are they showing off? It will provide context so you don't have to read through things. It will give you insights, made up or otherwise, and it will make dinner reservations for you. It is a system designed to do things that I would have other people do. So is the killer use case for AI that I want to get rid of my executive assistant, or in the case of people like me who don't have one, do I want a system to do that? Is that what Apple missed on? Because as far as I can tell, there's some things that Siri can do that ChatGPT can't, like anything to do with the actual device that I'm dealing with. And do you know why that is? Do you know why ChatGPT can't turn on low power mode or send me a reminder for something? It's because of the privacy focus that Apple has had. And yeah, all right, you're going to leave a comment. You're going to tell me how Apple doesn't have a privacy focus and all that other stuff. And hey, I agree with you. What's Google's privacy focus? What's the Xiaomi phone's privacy focus? Do you have a list of the things that they've done? Do you have a news story from this week where a nation state asked Apple to force an app to be put on the phones? And Apple said, no, I don't think we're going to do that. Right or wrong, Apple has been focused on keeping things as isolated as possible. Yeah, that means that the lady that lives in your phone is not as functional as ChatGPT is right now. But what it does mean is that if you accidentally say the trigger word and then say a whole bunch of random stuff that you don't mean to say, it doesn't end up in an LLM database to be crunched and done all these things for years and years and years. I don't necessarily know that there is a direction for this. Because remember, when we talk about all this AI stuff that's going on the other side of the fence with the open AIs and the NVIDIAs and the Microsofts and the AWSs and all that other stuff, that's B2B. That is selling hardware to do inferencing, to create better models, to do what? Because again, I have to come back to Apple is a $1 trillion company that sells phones, tablets, and laptops to people. OpenAI is worth billions of dollars, and what do they sell? Because as far as I'm aware, according to the news stories that I've heard this week, they're going to have to start injecting ads into ChatGPT chats because they don't actually sell anything. They sell a subscription to a thing, and they don't bring in billions of dollars a year from that subscription. In fact, most of the time, most people who use it don't pay for it. So I'm still struggling to understand why someone who had been at Apple for several years had to be forced out of retirement, because he retired, but he didn't really retire. He was told to retire. This is a way to prevent the markets from going crazy. What is it going to take? This is not the Steve Jobs moment of I have a web browser and a phone and a PDA in a thing in my pocket. We're past that point. That was 18 years ago, folks. We're in a different world now. I don't think you're going to get the killer app that you want. Al, am I wrong?
Usually.
That's fair. That's fair.
The killer app is, I think, definitely a dead term. The killer use case of not having to wade through nearly so much information, not having to try and find the little bits that I'm interested in the flood of information, or to be able to find the place that I want to go, the person that I want to talk to. These are the things I want from AI. I want it to take away all the drudge work. So, yeah, booking a hotel is an entirely relatable piece of drudge work, but being able to look at the 600 emails that have come into my mailbox and actually intelligently work out which ones I need to act on, that's the kind of thing I want from a good AI. I'm not seeing. That's the opportunity is there to help us with the information overload we suffer from, and most people do suffer from too much message, too much information they need to process and not enough insight being delivered to them. So that's what I want from an AI that I hold in my hand every day. Of course, I want it integrated with the laptop that I have in front of me for way too much of every day. And I really do want that consistent view of who I am and what I know, what I care about, rather than some very generic stuff. I have found Siri quite disappointing at finding even as simple things as tell me where the nearest supermarket is when I'm sitting in the car park of a supermarket, and Siri doesn't tell me that supermarket. There's a whole lot of things that are challenging for me in Siri, and more development towards that intelligence, or at least the ability to handle large amounts of unstructured data and turn it into some semblance of insightful data would be very helpful.